My name's Jennifer. I'm 48 years old. I come from Oklahoma. I have an undergraduate degree in journalism and a master's in business. I worked in television research for about 20 years. I'm single, no pets, no kids. Weight has always been a problem for me. As my father said, I was always on opposite ends of the height-weight chart, always short, but always on the heavier side. It wasn't until I was an adult that it escalated. My father died while I was in college, and that's when it started getting worse. And of course, working and stress from work didn't help. And it put on weight that I was not able to concentrate getting rid of. During my high school years, I would always be on diets and very resentful for them. I hated being on diets, but food was the one thing I could control. I didn't necessarily control it the good way. I wanted what I wanted, when I wanted, and my drug of choice always, since I was a child, was Coca-Cola. I think food is an addiction, very much so, especially for me. I almost didn't have my gastric bypass because I couldn't have Coke anymore. Seriously, I remember thinking the night before, if I do this, I cannot have a Coke again, ever. And I'm like, do I really want to do this? Obesity, I think, is a disease. It is very hard to control. And if it gets out of control, it's very hard to rein back in. Very hard. My greatest recorded weight was 444 pounds. This morning I weigh 170. One of the problems that kept me from losing the weight is that I was pretty healthy. I had little tiny bit of high blood pressure, but I think a lot of that was just white coat syndrome. Because even at over 300 pounds, my blood pressure would still be on the low side. I could get what I needed to get done. I wasn't on a walker. I mean, there's certain things I kept myself from doing. I wouldn't go to a baseball game because I couldn't get through the turnstile. Scared to death to fly, that I would have to buy a second seat. So I just didn't do those things. I would pre-scout out places I would go to see if I could get in there, if I could fit in there. I would always sit on an aisle at a play or a movie. I would go to movies at off times. Sunday morning's first show would be my movie of choice because there would be less people there. I did try to avoid people. If I totally committed myself to my work, I mean, I threw myself in the work. I pretty much have tried everything, I feel like. I've done Weight Watchers. UCLA had this fasting program. I tried that several times. South Beach, Atkins. I had a lot of boxes of uneaten food. I tried eating baby food. I tried doing the mentality of a gastric bypass without the gastric bypass. I'll just eat what a gastric bypass person would eat. That didn't work. And the best I would do, and I think it happened on the fast and it happened on Weight Watchers, I would lose 40 pounds and then that would be it. I couldn't do it anymore. When you have 300 pounds to lose and it takes a month to lose 4 pounds, I'm sorry, but you're just going to say F it a lot. I loved Fen. Oh my God, my first month I lost 17 pounds and I didn't want to eat. It was the most wonderful thing. And of course, I waited to get on Fen to right when they took it off the market. A nutritionist would hand me a piece of paper and said, you have 1,200 calories here. This is what 1,200 calories are. Do that. That didn't work for me. Even if I followed that, it was still too much for me. Maybe my metabolism was slower because I wasn't exercising, didn't have enough muscle mass. I started considering the bariatric surgery when my primary care said, think about it. I really didn't want to do it. I went through the system, and unfortunately, that program that I was in, their bariatric weight loss surgery program, was not comprehensive. It was not supportive. I actually had some verbal abuse by people in the program. I only had to lose 20 pounds before they would do surgery. And I had difficulty doing that. The program coordinator actually said, "You're wasting our time." When I was in this first program trying to lose the weight and have the surgery, I was still working. And then when I lost my job, it was devastating to me. I was not in a good place. And then my primary just mentioned, "You should try this other program." And I went into this program, and it was very fortuitous. It just flowed that my nutrition classes would start 2 weeks later. And I didn't really have to think about it because I was still numb. But I knew I needed to do it in order to get a job again. So it just happened. The classes started, and I went through the classes, and I lost 60 pounds before I had the surgery. I reformulated how I thought about the diet instead of failing if I didn't do 1,200 calories one day. Tracking my food, with the apps on your phone. These were all things that contributed to me being able to lose that weight before the surgery. I had to be in a medical supervised weight loss program for 6 months. And so that's when I did this nutrition class. My doctor never established a goal of you have to lose 20 pounds, you have to lose 60 pounds. That was not done, which was, I think, a good thing for me because that would put added pressure of a number. I just worked the program as well as I could. I made it work for me as best I could. And by the time the 6 months passed, it was 60 pounds. And they said, "Okay, you're ready."